Hello everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Now you might have guessed from the title, but we're doing another rework of an existing elite specialization, and this is for the Firebrand. I've titled these reworks, but these are kind of more just like reimagined, because let's all be honest, Firebrand is pretty stellar at where it's at. However, my creative juices have been flowing and I just want to make these videos. Like it's just a want inside of me. And you know what? What's stopping you in life from doing the things you want to do, as long as they're not illegal and in the bounds of reality? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm spitting? Cool. We chill. Anyway, everyone, let us jump right over to my reimagined / reworked traits for the Firebrand. And I'm also going to touch on some base core changes that would accompany my own quote-unquote perfected version of the Firebrand. So, transitions. Once again, I'd like to say a disclaimer. This is purely for fun, because I like to have fun, and this is how I have fun. So, let me first start off, I can't speak, by, describing what I would do for the base changes for Firebrand if I had complete and total control. Not too much, to be honest, for the base changes. Only things that I would do would be to increase the bleeding duration on the second hit of the axe by 1 second, so it lasts for 2 seconds, so you have that kind of lingering bleed. I feel like bleed is such an afterthought on this spec. It's nice, but I don't feel like it lasts too long. You know, that's another hot topic. Like, is bleed just there, or is it actually effective to gain a little bit extra boost? But that's my opinion. Additionally, I would change the tome pages from a standard of 5 to 8. So that might give you a hint that I have changed the Archivist of Whispers trait. I understand why it's a trait, but I feel like it's so much easier to balance tomes around just a steady, constant number as well. And also, you just have more availability. And talking, I'm foreshadowing, there's even more availability in the spec that I've changed. So, let me first start. Let's firstly jump into the actual trait changes, and I'm not going to start with the top line. I'm actually going to be starting with the middle line, and this I've changed 2 in the middle line, 2 in the bottom line, and 1 at the very top line. And you might be able to guess what I've changed for the top line, but it's neither here nor there. So, very first trait that I've changed is Liberator's Vow. I've changed it to, when quickness is applied to you, you heal and apply bleeding on your next attack. So this is completely changed from what it's at right now. This is right now about giving out quickness, but I wanted to have something to do a little bit more damage, have a slightly more condition, and also have a little bit more survivability, but survivability that is not on the tomes. Now the heal might be a little bit too strong. I could always, like, you know, numbers are malleable. Don't take them to heart. It could be like a 100 heal, but it's on a 3-second cooldown, so I thought, why not? Plus, you have to constantly be applying quickness. It's not quickness is on you, so every 3 seconds you're going to apply bleeding. No, it's like you get 1 pop of quickness, and then you'll do some bleeding and get a heal. 3 seconds later, if you get another one, if you get another tick of quickness, you'll do another packet. I hope that came through in the description. Moving over to the next trait that I would change is Stalwart Speed. This is where Liberator's Vow went. So I've just basically merged the traits into one, because I think that the middle line of Firebrand is kind of a cop-out. I don't want to say a cop-out, but I just feel it's so unimaginative and really boring, especially with Stalwart Speed and Liberator's Vow just doing the same thing. They just give out quickness. So I just merged them. Stalwart speed. Grant allies quickness when you use a heal skill, and when you grant Aegis or stability, grant quickness as well. Both functions are on their own cooldowns. So you'll use a heal, and the cooldown is 7 seconds. It affects 5 allies in a radius of 300. Then quickness on boon application lasts for the same duration, 2 seconds, which is also on a 7-second cooldown. So it's not like you're trying to compete with one single cooldown. They're both basically 2 different traits, but they just function as one. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm throwing? Cool. So that those are the changes to the middle line. I will say Ashes of the Just, Quickfire, the very Grandmaster trait, part of me feels like it should also receive some buff. I don't know. I'm okay with it right now. But I think it's very strong because you can share it out to a lot of people. So I'm okay with it right now. Moving over to the bottom row, we have Archivist of Whispers. Now this, if you remember, is the line that is all about augmenting your tomes and how they function and how you deal with tomes. So Archivists of Whispers. Tome skills gain bonuses in burning and boon output from ancient historians. I changed the flavor text because it says ancient bards, and I'm like, what does a librarian have to do with bards? They should be historians. And I also just like the Archivists of Whispers, and like as in the name, I like it better with this trait. So I changed what used to be the master trait, and I've switched it over to the minor trait. So that gives you an impression, because I also am making the old trait, Archivist of Whispers, baseline. Baseline, you now have 3 extra tome pages. So I had to fill it up. So I swapped it over, but that also means there's a new trait for the master tier of legendary lore. Now, I had a lot of fun with this. I was thinking, I was like, what can I do for legendary lore? What trait can I make? And I was like, you know what? What about a recharge mechanic? So, legendary lore. Tomes will recover 1 page after a successful resurrection or stomp. I wanted to have that PvP correlation as well. And the second part of the trait is 1 tome page will be recovered passively after a duration. I hope you got what is summarized here as the trait. But basically what this means is that when you have a trait, when you have a tome equipped and your trait is select to legendary lore, if you resurrect an ally and say you have 3 pages left out of a total of 8, you resurrect an ally or you stomp an ally, you're gonna get another tome page back. So you'll go from 3 to 4. And I wanted to have a passive idea of this as well. So I've also changed it to where every 10 seconds you're going to recover just another page if you happen to be in a tome for 10 seconds. I didn't want the tome recovery rate to be 4 seconds, because then I feel like that's just ultra spamming. If anything, I could increase the passive recovery even to 15 seconds, because I don't want you to literally camp in it the entire time. But if you happen to be using it wisely in a PvP or PvE scenario, weaving in mantras, dodging into tomes, it could give you some edge and give you a little bit more access to some of the abilities. So I just thought that would be an interesting trait. And then, so that's the bottom line. And now we're moving over to the very top, tippity top line. This, you guys might have been able to guess it. I am changing Stoic Demeanor. This trait, look, let me just say, this trait was implemented when Path of Fire launched. Even in the betas, it was really boring, and it was like, why is that a trait? What are you doing? What? And I went on the wiki, and I subconsciously already knew this, but having the physical evidence on the Wikipedia, it just really struck a chord with me. This trait has not been changed, buffed, or altered at all. At all. From the history of its implementation, and it's a Grand Master. And it's currently apply slow. Apply 2.5 seconds of slow. You know how easy that can be cleared in PvP? Maybe in PvE you can get some use out of that. But compared to the other 2 Grandmasters, you have no idea, you don't want to take it at all. because it's just really bad. So I buffed it a little bit. And I've also renamed it, because stoic demeanor, I don't think it's really stoic. It's supposed to be aggressive. It's supposed to be dealing with conditions and, like, you know, that dueling style. So I've changed it to Oppressive Demeanor on a 6-second cooldown, up a second from 5 seconds. You inflict slow, bleeding, and burning on foes you disable or immobilize. And additionally, condition damage is increased to immobilized foes. The slow is 2 seconds. I wanted to have 2 stacks of bleeding for 4 seconds and 1 stack of burn for 4 seconds. I want to be very cautious with conditions because I play PvP and I understand how painful condition playstyles can be. And Guardian is already pretty strong in the condition department. But I will say it's mostly core Guardians. I see a lot of core Guardians really pumping out a lot of heavy hitting burns. And I don't really often see a lot of Firebrands playing condition. It's typically bunker, healing support. So I wanted to have this option just to open Firebrand up a little bit more. So I didn't go too heavy on the conditions, just 2 stacks of bleeding for 4 seconds and a stack of burning for 4 seconds. I think it's a buff that is needed to Stoic Demeanor, aka Oppressive Demeanor. And the secondary tooltip, condition damage is increased to immobilized foes. I thought this was pretty okay. It's also not a huge modifier. It's 5%, which might be like, it's a Grandmaster, shouldn't it be stronger? I want to play safer rather than sorrier. That didn't sound like good English. Like, it didn't sound good when it rolled off my tongue. But, you know, of course, these are all fictional numbers. Numbers can change, you know. But I also thought immobilize is a condition that oftentimes has limited duration, and it correlates to the weighty terms trait in Firebrand, which is the trait which will allow your mantras to immobilize foes on their final cast. So I wanted to have some tie-in with that as well. So those are my changes to Firebrand, or that's how I would reimagine Firebrand if I could in a setting of 2019. But it's just another little fun video. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you liked it, and comment below your thoughts on my reimagined slash rework of Firebrand. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone! Mwah.